What's up, good people? It's your boy Cheston Green, and you know what time it is. It's time for ID Talks. Let's get this started. So, ID Talks is a show where we discuss, excuse me, we discuss, I see you, brother. Got you on there. Sorry, y'all got excited because some brother up here already. I'm your friend, your brother, your cousin, your uncle, your son, and your favorite artist, Cheston Green, and welcome to ID Talks. ID Talks is a show where we link up with creatives who are believers to discuss purpose, calling, and identity. And so before I jump into the interview, I want to give you what I always do, the Creative Corner. So today's Creative Corner is called Side Hustle. Tell your neighbor, say neighbor. I didn't hear you say neighbor. Say side hustle. So a side hustle, for some people, they go broke trying to fund their dream, right? I want to encourage you, if you can and you are willing, get a side job, get a hustle. Maybe it's driving Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats, DoorDash, whatever it could be. But get a side hustle, something that preferably has a 1099 associated with it. That is meaning you are a contractor. What you can then do is you can write off all expenses that are incurred while doing that job, whether it's food, gas, mileage, a lot of different things. Those are tax write-offs. That will help you bring in revenue so that you can fund the dream or vision while you might be doing your 9 to 5. So that is my Creative Corner this afternoon or this evening. So this is what I'm about to do. I'm about to send this to a couple people. And what I want you to do is send it to some people that you know. Hopefully people join in. And we're going to start momentarily with our boy, our brother, Stitch Early. And if you hear the music in the background, that is my latest single called Identity Remix. Hope y'all having a great evening. All right, let's go. So I'm about to bring in Stitch because I. So let's give him a second to get on here. What's going on, my brother?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Doing great. I can't complain.
That's what's up. Well, before we start, I want to just introduce you and correct me if anything in this bio is wrong.
All right, I got you.
So sometimes I tell people like I do like a formal bio, but tonight I want to do something a little different. I met Stitch in 2016 through my manager, Janice. And basically, I was having a show in North Carolina. She was like, I know this dope rapper that you should have on your show. And so I called, exchange. He came through, showed up in Raleigh, North Carolina. A couple months later, my team told me into having another show in Baltimore. And I was like, well, we got to have Stitch back again. And he showed up in Blaze as he always does. And from that experience, I've never told you this, Stitch, but several men came up to me afterwards and was like, yo, that dude was fire. And these are people who don't listen. These are men who don't listen to
That's what's up. That's what's up.
And so when I was thinking about different creatives and different people to link with for this, I was like, yo, I got to get Stitch on here early. So thank y'all for tuning in. I see some of my family on here. I am, how do I say this? I don't want to tell where I am, but I'm on location. So if you hear baby crying, stuff like that, everything's fine.
I got you.
But let me finish this bio. So Stitch is a military brat who has lived internationally in various places within the U.S., but now Stitch resides in Frederick, Maryland. He's a father, husband, and creative who shows you that he is more than music, excuse me. Everyone, this is Stitch Early, also known as Lorenzo. Y'all give it up. Put some claps in the chat. What's up, Joy? I see some of my people online. Listen, it's going to be fun tonight. Stitch, I know I already asked you, but let me just ask you this. Was the bio okay?
Oh, yeah, nah, you good.
Okay,
I don't be tripping. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. What up,
I be trying to make sure I get people stuff right. I don't be lying, telling the people you
sure.
this.
I was like, I wanted to make sure. I was like, man, I can be myself here, so that's cool. So I'm good. So I'm good.
Absolutely. This is chill. Like this is real laid back, very impromptu, informal. But I thought it was really cool. When I told Janice, she was like, "Oh, that's gonna be a good look." I always start off with this. So the icebreaker is something I use for those who've never seen the show before. Mm-hmm. Not only is this a show that happens every Monday at 9 p.m., there's also a playlist associated with this show. And so there's a playlist that is on Spotify, and the same playlist is on Apple Music. So I always start my show off with this. What is a song that you listen to, Stitch, that gets your creative juices flowing, or it encourages you to keep going when you're feeling frustrated? And it can be
Oh
gospel or
man,
secular.
dang. I wasn't expecting you to go there at all. I'm like, man, that is a good hmm. What is a song that inspires me and like gets me
Hmm.
going?
Yep.
Um, it's probably gonna be something like something off. I'm trying to think.
It don't matter. Just be honest.
So like if I can't pinpoint like one like particular song, but
Okay.
if I had to pick like an artist that's like a jump start, like
Hmm.
I listen to DMX. And
Okay.
so like DMX is like that first album, there's songs on that album that I can put on that's like if I'm going to the gym, if I need to get the creative juices flowing,
Hmm.
it's just the energy that he gives off
Okay.
puts me in a certain, zone. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so I say that.
So I'm gonna put in here DMX. Now, y'all, I did not. I mean, last week was a crazy week with the holiday, so I didn't update the
Yeah.
playlist last week. But I'm gonna
Nah, it's
put
cool.
DMX, and I'm gonna find a song that is still appropriate to
You
add
could
to the
put
playlist.
if you want to pick one, you could put DMX slipping.
Ooh, I'm slipping.
You could
I'm
put
falling.
DMX.
I
I
can't give it
can't
up.
get it. You
Yeah,
could
I'm
put
slipping.
slipping
Okay.
because it was like almost like low key a testimonial of his about what he was going through and things of that
Yep.
nature. So it's like, yeah. So you could put that.
Okay. Bet. So y'all heard it. Stitch's song is "Slipping" from DMX. I think it's really important to say, to keep it real and honest and tell people like this is the kind of stuff I listen to, because I think sometimes, especially creatives who do gospel or do something that's like
Hmm.
Christian in nature, they just assume, I think, that we just walk around in a cloud of glory, like, oh yes, sir, what are you listening to
Yeah,
today? Da, 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 da.
exactly.
Nope.
And
Matter of
it don't
fact,
be like that.
it don't feel like that. As a matter of fact, I listen to Brandy as a song called "Scared of Beautiful" every time I
Okay.
get ready to sing or record, because she
Yeah.
does these really cool things with her voice that just puts. I put that in my headspace, and when I get on stage, I'll be like, I can do some of this stuff. Now, stay in the
Exactly.
pocket.
Yeah, because
But
a lot of times it's not even so much about like the content, but it's like the vibe, the feel of it that kind of
correct.
gets you in the space. Yeah, so I feel you on that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So listen, y'all, if y'all just tuning in, I am interviewing my boy Stitch Early, also known as, well, probably better known as Lorenzo.
So
um,
yeah, you know what I'm saying.
and so tonight we just having an honest conversation. So we did the icebreaker. I want to play a game. Joy said yes. Joy is official love is the bait. She is a creative. She's a singer songwriter.
Okay,
Just
dope.
made
That's
a
what's up.
got a placement on an international record that is going to be bananas
Okay.
when it is released. And Joy, I'm going to be reaching out to you as soon to prepare yourself. But look, listen. All right. So the first game, we always do a game. The first game, or the first thing I'm doing tonight, is called Top Five. So I'm
Okay.
going to give you five different scenarios or groups, topics, subtopics, however you want to put it, and you got to list five things in this group.
Oh, all right.
So the first one is, tell me five cities that you love to visit.
5 cities that I love to visit. I would put DC on that list. City for the Commonwealth, whatever, you know what I mean. So I would say
Hmm.
DC, um, New York. I haven't been in a while. My brother used to live in New York, and I used to, go up there often. Um, Trying to think what else. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Um, I put that on there. Uh, Man, Chicago. So like I went to Chicago. I've only been to Chicago one time, but I had a
Okay.
great time when I went.
Okay.
And it's a place that I would go back. You know what I
Got you.
mean? I just don't be on like O Block and stuff like, you know what I mean? Um, and so, and if I had to pick one other one, like Tokyo, Japan.
Okay. Have you been to Tokyo before?
I lived there for 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna come back to that.
Yeah, I lived there for
So
3 years.
okay. So that was a good top five. Your next one, top five rappers.
Oh man. Okay. Top
And
five
this is
rappers.
based on you, not anybody else, not charts.
Nah, cool,
Your
cool,
top
cool.
five.
Top five rappers. Dang, this gonna be a hard one. Jay-Z,
Okay.
um, Black Thought,
Okay.
Lupe Fiasco, Royce the 5'9", and Most Def.
Okay. All right. The next one. Top 5 books that you've read.
Oh man. The Art of War. We'll keep it where we at, the Bible, like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's light.
Mm-hmm.
Man. What is it? Is it Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I want to
I can't think of the man's name, but I see the book right now.
put that, yeah, I put that up there. Dang, I'm trying to think of 2 other ones. You put me on the spot. Man, and one of them is a friend of mine, and I'm trying to think of his book, and I can't, like, I can see the cover, but I can't think of the day. I can't think of the name of it off the top
Okay.
of my head. I might have to circle back. I'll circle back.
Okay. Okay. So that was Art of
So
War.
that was 3. That was 3.
Okay.
That was 3. I'll give you them 3.
Okay.
I'm trying to,
Okay.
because I'm the other 2 that I'm thinking of is people that I know.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
So you gave us 3, y'all. We give him a B+ on that one.
Yeah, I get like a B+ on that one.
The next one. Give me 5 of your favorite performers. It could be any genre.
Mm-hmm. Missy Elliott, Busta Rhymes, Chris Brown, Beyonce, and I'm trying to think another great performer. Man, performer. That's even more difficult than the other one. I'm trying to think of because when I think of performers, I just think, and not even so much. It's just the everything that comes with it. And I know people ain't really rocking with him right now. Kanye West.
It's okay. We can still say his name over here. You need to look it up.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Kanye West.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
You go to a Kanye West show, you don't know what you're gonna get, but you're gonna get something.
Like, yeah, I have to go back to what you just said. I think your second one was Missy Elliott. I saw Missy Elliott 2018 at Essence Festival, and I'll never forget. My flight got jacked up. I was stuck in at the BWI.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, we'll fly you out Saturday." I'm like, "No, Missy Elliott performs Friday night." So I told them I have a conference. I said I have a conference. Now I didn't really lie. It was a conference. So I have a conference for work. I'm a singer. My job is music. So I gotta
exactly.
I said, "Y'all better put me in the first flight out." Man, when I saw Missy Elliott, my life was like, I was so inspired. I was so like, the way her mind thinks to create all this stuff and to know that like a lot of things we saw, she actually created herself. It wasn't somebody else's mastermind behind it. It was her own.
It was like her. And what she did for other people too, yeah. So now I agree with that.
And that show, it was like paying homage to her. So she brought out Lil' Kim. I think she might have brought out Fantasia. She brought out Monica. She brought out Timbaland. She brought out Magoo. She brought out Genuine. They did songs that she was featured on, songs she produced, and songs that she wrote or performed. She brought out, was it Janet Jackson? No, it wasn't Janet Jackson. It was somebody else she did a feature with, like a girl.
Yeah.
She did a feature with. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Okay. No, that's what's up.
This is my last one of the top 5. So I did this one very specifically because on your Instagram the other day, you showed yourself cooking.
Oh, okay.
So I want to know your top 5 foods or meals to cook.
Oh, okay. All right. Foods or meals to cook. Shrimp and chicken Alfredo. Throw down on that. So like my mom is Panamanian. So like for breakfast, we have like sausage and beans with eggs and toast. So that I'll put that one in there.
Okay.
I'll put my spaghetti in there. I make honey glazed salmon. I'll put that in there, and that joint top notch. Yeah, that's top notch. And if I had to pick one other thing, we do like homemade pizzas, like on naan bread.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll put that. That'll be number 5.
That's dope. So your Alfredo, I got a question. Do you make your Alfredo sauce from scratch?
Yeah, I made that joint from
Okay.
scratch. Heavy cream. Like, yeah, yeah.
I didn't know how to, and that was Alfredo is one of my favorite dishes. I didn't know how to make
Yeah.
it from scratch, and one of my friends told me one day she was like, "The minute you learn how to make it from scratch, you will never go back to jar sauce." I was like,
Nah, once you, yeah, nah,
"Yeah,
you be like, what is Olive Garden doing? Like, I don't even go there no more. Like, it's like,
bro." I learned. I went and found a recipe for Tuscan chicken right before Thanksgiving.
uh,
I called my aunt. I said, "Auntie, I made Tuscan chicken." My aunt lives in Maryland. She's like, "Oh, bring me some, bro." I asked her when we got on the flight because we flew out of town together. And when I got on the flight, I said, "Auntie, did you like the Tuscan chicken?" She said, "Boy, my whole office came out of there. Office. Who's that? Who got some? What is it? It smells good." She
yo,
was like,
that's
"You killed it."
funny.
So
So
yeah,
you did your thing then.
once she made that sauce on your own,
Yeah,
you'll never have
everything
to go
else is
back.
easy. Exactly.
Everything else is easy. All right, so yeah, that was the top five. So let's just get into this interview. Here at ID Talks, we really talk about identity and purpose and calling. And my hope is that people will listen or watch the show and walk away with more insight, more inspiration, more drive, more fire, do what they do, what they're called to do. And so I want to start with a simple question. So, what does identity mean to you?
I think for me, identity is knowing who you are and walking in who you are. I think oftentimes, like, we gain our identity from whether it be from our parents, from different people we've met along the way. We kind of gain little pieces that we have added onto ourselves. But I think once you kind of can get into a space to where you know exactly who you are, I think it almost enhances what you do. And so
Okay.
you can fully go into what you do once that identity is known, and you're not kind of like, man, am I grabbing too much? Like you said, you'll listen to Brandy sometimes, to get you in a space, but you're not. It doesn't take away from your identity, or you're not grabbing her identity for you. It's to get you in a zone, but you already know who you are, so you can listen to that to like, I know what gets me where I need to be at.
Yeah. Yeah, that's real powerful. Um, this is more of a personal question towards you. When did you discover your purpose?
The funny thing is, like, I would probably say, like, my purpose might have like found me, like it might have discovered me before I discovered.
Wait a minute, y'all. If you watching this live, I need you to put some fire emojis in here. This man done said, "I didn't find my purpose. My purpose found me." That's a
Yeah.
whole thing right there. Yo, that's powerful. Okay, I'm gonna let you keep talking.
Nah, for sure. Like I was especially, now with doing music and things of that nature, it was never anything that was like that I wanted to do. Like, I wasn't that kid that was like, oh man, he's walking around singing and he's playing instruments and stuff. I was never into music like that. It wasn't anything that I was fully searching for. Like, oh, I'm looking to do something, and then, oh, I just happened to find this. It was literally something that everywhere that I would go, I would just find myself either knowing people who did it. So when all the way from being in North Carolina in Fayetteville and having friends that were in church, and we weren't really in church heavy, but they were taking secular songs and making like gospel songs out of them. And then I moved to Japan, and one of my mom's coworkers, her son did Christian hip hop. I didn't know what Christian hip hop was, had
Oh
no idea
wow.
what that was. You know what I'm saying? And another friend of mine, his brother did music too, and would write us verses and stuff. And I'm just like, well, they doing it, so I guess I'll do it. Like, I'm not even like thinking like, oh, this is something I'm going to be doing in life, or God
Yeah.
is going to use this to be something that was a hobby or something that I didn't even want to do. So that's why I say, and then moving to Frederick, I meet my best friend, and he's a producer and he does music and things of that nature. So it's almost like it was there the whole time. It was just waiting for me to be like, oh, there you are. But it was kind of there waiting for me the whole time. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't necessarily say that like I found it. You know what I mean? It was there the whole time, and I finally kind of like opened my eyes to it.
Mm, that's probably the best response I've gotten. And I'm not even going to say best because I don't want to compare because we're talking about humans and their human experience. But
Mm,
that's one of the most eye-opening and like aha moments. And it makes me think about my own life. And that's what I like about doing this show. People talk about their life and it makes me sit and think with me because I have come from a singing family, but like
mm,
some of my friends, like in school and stuff, they only knew I sung because they saw me sing in church, or somebody would say, "Hey, Chester
got you.
sings." because I didn't walk around just like, I mean, I sang with
Exactly.
everybody else, but I wasn't like,
Yeah.
"Ooh yeah, amazing grace, how so we
Yeah.
the sound,"
I feel
doing
you.
all
No,
that.
I agree, and it's funny because I remember doing an interview and someone asking me like, "So when did you get into music?" And I'm like, "I don't know, it just happened." And then it made me think back, and I was like, "Yo, oh man, that was a thing." And then, oh, my granddad played music all the time, and then so it's so many things that even when you talk about identity, like I said, there's so many things that you grab hold of along the way that you kind of sometimes will forget even what were the things that built your identity. You know what I mean
Yeah.
along the way. So yeah.
And it takes sometimes people having those conversations with you or that loved one saying like, "Oh, I remember when you used to do this or you used to do that."
Exactly. Hmm.
I remember when, you was beating. Like I hear people say who are drummers or like even rappers like used to be banging on my pots and pans and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You realize that those are the things that actually, although some people think that's just cute and that's just
Hmm.
minuscule, it's actually what starts creating a desire or a comfortability with performing and being in front of
Exactly.
people and doing your own thing, no matter what people say or how they respond. It's great when you have somebody saying, "Oh, that's cute," clapping for you.
Yeah,
But if
yeah.
they don't, if they ignore you, you're in your element by yourself. So
Hmm. For sure.
that's major. So I want to go to back what you said about you have your best friend who did music in Japan. You talked about Fayetteville. You're a military brat. Where were you
Hmm.
actually born? And take us just quickly like on your own tour of the
Oh,
world.
so I was born in Fayetteville, in North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where I'm originally from, Fayetteville, North Carolina. So then it was like Fayetteville, then we went to Germany, and then my brother was born in Germany. So then I went to New York while my parents were still in Germany. And then, so
Okay.
from New York, when they came back, we went to Colorado. Then from
Okay.
Colorado back to Fayetteville, and then from Fayetteville to Japan, and then from Japan to where I'm at now, which is Frederick, Maryland.
So it seems to me, and this is just an observation, I could be wrong. I have some
Hmm.
people in my family who are, my uncle was in my dad was in the military, but I was here. I always been here.
Got
Um,
you.
he was here when I was born. He didn't go nowhere else.
Got you.
But I have an uncle who lived in Japan. I hear, and I have other friends who are, I work for the military. I have friends who are military,
Hmm.
whatever. It seems like there's a different level of like, not just you being cultured, but a different type of approach to who you are as a person or your personality or how you engage with others
Hmm.
that comes out of being a military brat. Whether it be like you learn to be more independent or you're more introverted because it's like I'm bouncing from place to place and don't have strong roots. How do you
Yeah.
how has your traveling, or being I don't want to say displaced because it wasn't like you were being displaced, but making these different stops in life, how do those things contribute to not just who you are as an artist, but who you are as an individual?
Um, I agree with some of that in the sense of you kind of get used to moving, at a certain point where everywhere we would go, I was like, okay, in 2 to 3 years, I'm gonna be leaving. So even if I do build friendships and stuff, these joints probably ain't gonna last because I'm gonna go make some new friends somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there is, I think for me, I am a extroverted introvert is what I would consider myself. I have no problem being at my house by myself, left alone. Nobody has to say nothing to me. I am cool with that. But if I'm in environments where I need to speak and I need to, be social, I'm cool with that also. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean? So I'm definitely that person that if I'm in a public setting, I'm not like reverted to myself, like don't know anybody talk to me. You know what I mean? And I definitely think that's from my travels and having to go to new schools and like, man, I can't just be the kid that's not going to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
I have to actually make friends. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I think that part, and then I think also probably even my background of, with my parents and stuff, like my mom's side of the family is Spanish. Like, so you're not just going to be quiet. Like, you know what I mean? Like they going to pull it out of you some way, shape or form.
Got you.
You know what I mean? So I think a lot of those things shaped me as a person, but
Hmm.
then also shaped my what I listen to musically, what I am as an
Mm.
artist, being able to open me up as an artist. I'm not necessarily somebody that like, oh, I just lived in New York, so I only like boom bap or I only like this particular type of music. Like, nah, I'm also from down south. And then I was also in Japan where I met people from all over the world. So I'm listening to No Limit and I'm listening to, oh, I didn't even know, like I said, I didn't know what Christian hip hop was. had
Mhm.
no idea what Christian hip hop was, like at all. And to me, the first one, and this is funny because I've said this to people before, the first Christian hip hop thing that I listened to was DMX.
Okay.
Because at the end of every DMX album, he would have a song where he did a prayer.
Yep.
So I remember being in Japan, getting that first album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, and that's when my mom kind of really got serious about church. We were going to church heavy over there, and I remember her finding my DMX CD, and I remember her breaking my CD. And
Break
she was
every
like,
chain.
"Yeah, exactly." She was like, "What type of demonic? He got it's the red cover, like." And she's like, "What kind of
Yeah.
demonic?" And I'm trying to explain to her, like, "Nah, mom, like you gotta like listen, like it's some stuff on here that you might actually like, like you know what I mean." And so he was the first person I ever heard like, "Oh, he's not cursing, and he's actually like talking about God, like on this
Yeah.
whole song." You know what I mean? And then I meet Walter Scott, who is the guy who kind of introduced me to like, yo, nah, I be writing raps about like God, and I rap them joints at church, and I was like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. You know what I mean? So he
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
was the one that introduced me to that. And then when I moved to Frederick, it's like now here's more. I think the first person I knew in gospel, outside of like your Kirk Franklins and stuff, was like Tone.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's who I was introduced to coming here, and like, oh snap, I didn't know what this was. Like, you know what I mean? So I moved here, and now I'm introduced to this other side of hip hop that I never knew existed. So it's continuing to just open me up, musically.
Yeah. And it's crazy that like you would go all the way to like the eastern part of the hemisphere to find Christian rap, where
Yeah.
in all honesty, I didn't know that like Japan liked anything gospel until I want to say it was Karen Clark Sheard and Kiera Sheard. Well,
Mm,
Kiera really went on tour, and Karen ended up kind of tagging along because she was too young to like be on tour by herself.
got you.
And so she did a Japanese release of one of her albums,
Oh, dope.
and the people she was like they didn't know who she was talking about. One person said, "I don't know what God is. Like you keep talking about God, and you keep
Mm,
saying it's Jesus person." And she had to have a translator. And they was like, "I
mm,
don't know what that is, but I love your music." So I didn't
yeah.
even know like gospel was like even being like consumed on this side of the world. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's
Nah, for
amazing.
sure. Like, yeah. So it was definitely an experience, and definitely something as an artist, that opened up my palette to like not just be like one note as an artist. So
Gotcha. Gotcha. So if you guys are tuning in, just joining on, please, 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 um, go follow my boy Stitch Early. This is not the end of the interview. I just say this in the middle because I say more people come on. They're probably like,
nah,
Cheston,
for
what are you
sure.
doing? This is Ali Toss with Cheston Green. And my special guest is Lorenzo Stitch Early, also known as Zoe. He got all these names, all these monikers, y'all.
Yeah. Like,
But it's all good. It's all good. I'm going to take a break on the questions that I have written, and this is one off the top of my head. Can you tell the people what Stitch Early even means?
oh, so Stitch is actually an acronym for spiritually touching individuals through Christ's hands early. So
Mm,
that's like what the whole name is laid out.
gotcha.
You know what I mean? So when I pick something, it's like Stitch Early isn't like an alter ego, like, oh, Lorenzo is one person and Stitch Early is this other
Right.
dude, you know what I mean? But they're one and the same. So I wanted a name that kind of more or less spoke to what I do and not so much like who I am, but this is what I came to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's funny because I remember when we met each other and when you explained to me that, because I think we had a conversation. I think you said it on stage, but I know
Hmm.
that first show when you were on stage, I didn't hear all of your performance because I think you went like on right before I came out. So I
Yeah, I
like
did.
watched part of it and I was like, okay, let me go back and get my mind together. My family was praying for me, whatever.
Yep.
So I was like, I don't know what this stitch part means. So then we had a conversation and you said it. But for me as a creative, it was empowering, answer with enlightenment. It is so fun. I just had an aha moment. Where I am right now, my aunt who traveled with me was at my show, and she was the first person that came to tell me, I really like that guy you had a bit. I need
Oh,
to get some of
dope.
his
That's what's
music.
up.
And my aunt
That's
listens to
what's
all
up.
kinds of music, like she's the hip auntie. So, but
Yeah.
we had that conversation and made me feel good about being intentional about the things that I was saying and doing, like acronyms or having like concepts, and not just being an artist that like does music, right? So, like, I
Hmm.
have an EP that we've worked on called Identity, and it's two parts to it or whatever, but it's supposed to tell a story. And so, like, that made me say, like, I can do this in gospel. Like, I don't have to be the only
Nah,
person.
facts.
I don't have to do praise and worship. Although I'm a praise and worship leader, I have to do that as a recording. I
Yeah,
will at some
yeah.
point, but God has so much more for me to do, and it speaks to the level of creativity and intentionality. So creators, if you listening, like it's all right if you got an idea or concept, run it by some people that run that joint. Like
Yeah.
talk to some people, say, hey, what you think about this? Does this make sense? Does this
Hmm.
resonate with you? My two EPs sounds like a 90s album, like a full 90s album put together with
Yeah.
skits and interludes and stuff. So like when I'm having conversations, even did a listening party, I let them hear it and I explained to them what was going on. They was like, yo, that's so dope. I feel it, I hear it. And then they start giving me tips to improve it. So then I went back in the
Hmm.
studio and start working some more. So
And that's
it's
all you
okay if
could
y'all
do
have
is
a
put it
concept.
out there. Yeah, that's all you could do is put it out there. And I know for me, like I'm intentional with, everything that I do. You know what I'm saying? I try to be intentional with it and try to have, if I have a meaning behind it, all of my albums are concept albums, you know what I mean? That have some type of underlying meaning and things like that. Because at the end of the day, you put your art out there and you have to have what you're doing with it. And then people are also going to take from what they take from it.
For
Also, but if
sure.
you're intentional with it, then when that person does come and say, well, you were doing this, and it's like, nah, you have something that you can back it on and explain what you were doing with it.
For sure, for sure. So we kind of talked about your journey and like how you stumbled or it stumbled upon you, right? But now I want to
Yeah.
talk about like the refinement part. So like, how were you trained or taught like rap or performance? I don't know if you make beats. Like, how were you taught or how did you educate or sharpen your skills in what you do?
Um, it was one of those things that like I had to work at. Like I was not good in the beginning. Like I was not.
Okay.
So, but because it wasn't something, you know how you see some people and you be like when we look at LeBron James, we see clips of him from when he was 10, and we like, man, he just always had it. It just
Hmm.
seems like he always had it. But then you'll see certain players where you're like, man, I saw when he didn't have it, and then I saw when it like clicked, and from that point on, it was like, oh, he has it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I would say, like somebody like a Kobe, where you saw glimpses of it, but you were like, he still needs some refinement. And then once he figured it out, it was like, all right, everybody watch out. Like he got it. So for me, I was more on that side of, because this wasn't something that was a passion of mine. I wouldn't even say that it was a hobby yet. It was more or less that I had friends that were doing it. And it was like, all right, I don't want to just be sitting over here. So, all right, I'll hop in and do something. Y'all want me to do a verse? Okay, I'll do it. And so for me, it was definitely like trial by error.
Okay.
So it was one of those things to where, hey, just hop out there and see what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of it was through the people I was listening to, like cadences. I learned that from Method Man. So like I used
Mm.
to write my verses off of like the Blackout album. Like
Okay.
I used to listen to Method Man verses, and it'll be dun, 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 and I would go, all right, I'm gonna write a verse based off of that cadence, because
Ah.
I didn't really know how to, probably I would say for an R&B person, it's like when y'all do riffs and different things
Hmm.
like that, it's like, you have to learn how to be able to do that. So for me, it was more or less looking at the people I knew around me, but then also looking at the artists that I looked up to and that I was a
Hmm.
fan of, and being like, okay, what can I take from them to enhance what I'm doing? And then I got to a point to where I was like, okay, I don't need them anymore. Like
Hmm.
I think I'm starting to, like you said, identity. I think I'm finding the identity of who I am as an artist, and how I can put what I am in my real life into my music.
Yeah.
And so I think once you get to that point, now all of those other things are just like tools in the tool belt. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I know I could grab that. I know I can grab this from over here. So for me, a lot of it was really practice. Like practice writing a song. I have songs where I've written a song and then looked and was like, nah, that ain't it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And being okay with that, like being okay with feedback even. I think oftentimes we are so confident in our talent that any feedback given is like, nah, you just don't get it. Like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
And sometimes we don't take that constructive criticism that could help to enhance, you know what I mean? So for me, there's people around me who I trust that I'll be like, yo, the last album, I know it was dope. I know everybody felt it, but what's something you think I could do better on the next one?
Absolutely.
What's a place that I haven't touched yet that I could do And then it goes into that place, like you said, where you're sharpening your blade again. Like you're kind of like, all right, now let me go back in and let me tweak some things and let me refine some things. So yeah, for me,
Yeah.
it was definitely that process of kind of just figuring it out as I went. But then as I was figuring it out, taking little pointers, like I said, Busta Rhymes and Missy Elliott are two of my favorite performers.
Mm-hmm.
So on stage, I bring that on stage. On stage, I know when I'm on stage, I have to have energy. I know you have to engage. You know what I'm saying? But I learned all of that from watching performers like perform and go, oh,
Mm-hmm.
so I can't just if I look uninterested, the crowd's gonna look uninterested. You know what I
Yes.
mean? If I'm super interested, whether it's one person or it's 1,500 people,
Yep.
my thing always goes to I've been at shows where like people are kind of like just standing like, all right, I didn't come here for him. Like I came
Mm-hmm.
here for the person I came here for, which is cool. But then I'll see those 4 or 5 people that's like with it. I'm just gonna perform to them 4 or 5 people,
Yes.
and if that continues to go, because I've seen people at shows where like be like, oh, so y'all ain't feeling it.
Yeah, and that's like
If
the
they
throw off.
don't do that, because if they were feeling it, they might have just. And then I've noticed that some shows, sometimes people are just listening.
Yeah, yeah,
Some,
yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean. So you have to be able to, as a performer, be able to look out into that audience and be able to pick up on those different cues and know like what is uninterested and what is being interested and really tuned into your words, and what is
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's just feeling the vibe. Those are all different things, but it's all how you as an artist interpret it that
Mm-hmm.
will make your performance either a better performance or your performance kind of like where somebody's like, yeah, I'm kind of good on him. Like I don't want to.
Yep.
He was yelling at me and telling me I wasn't interested, and I was feeling him the whole time. Like,
That'd be my biggest pet peeve, yo. And it's funny because I will be honest and say there's been times, and I'm leading praise and worship or I'm singing somewhere and I want to fuss, right? Like, y'all just sitting there. And what I have learned to do is if I'm going to respond to their non-responsiveness, I'm going to find a fun way to make them say, Happened a couple weeks ago. I'm leading praise and worship at this church. And no lie, we're singing Bless from Fred Hammond. Everybody's up, but it's kind of like, cute. Like,
yeah,
but they ain't like all the way in. This older lady who I don't know how old Mama Y is. That's what they call her, Mama Y. But she has like silver hair. She comes in like this, like a Soul Train line.
yeah, yeah.
The minute I see her, I tell the whole band and singers, I said, everybody stop. It's like, pound. I was like, now let me tell y'all something. I love y'all so much. I was like, I want y'all to take a look at Mama Y. Everybody's like, Mama Y, I'm like, she's right there. I said, now Mama Y is there getting it like she's going in the Soul Train line. The rest of y'all are sitting here like you're enjoying the song, but can you get like Mama Y? I
Yeah,
didn't fuss because it wasn't necessary to fuss. I just
exactly.
wanted to encourage them to like, because I could tell everybody was uptight. I found out later that people have been having a hard week. People have been going through things. People have been dealing with
Hmm.
illnesses and stuff. And I'm like, I'm trying to facilitate a space where you feel comfortable enough to be like, I don't even care about nobody. I'm about to just jam out. And that's
Exactly.
really where, like, when we talk about in church, that's when deliverance can really happen because
Yeah,
the old folks say, forget about yourself, concentrate on Him and worship Him. So that's what they doing, even with a song like Bless. And I'm gonna tell you, that Sunday was crazy. So my friends called me later. They was like, "What happened?" I was like, "I don't know." Like the whole people
yeah,
started going
yeah.
off. So
Nah,
yeah,
but
it's
but
terrible.
that's the perfect way to do it, because you never know what people are going through. And I think
Yeah,
sometimes as the artist, you feel like, yo, you here to see me, you going like I think we're so used to telling the crowd what to do. And like you
yeah.
have to find a way. I had a show last year, and it was at like a pavilion, like an outdoor space.
Hmm.
And so you had a lot of people jamming out. But for me, it's like I'm always looking in the crowd, and like so I see this like group of friends, and they
Hmm.
like talking during the performance, like the one girl on the phone. And so I'm in the middle of the performance. I'm like, hey, you calling me? Are you calling me? And she like looks, and she was like, nah. I was like, if you ain't calling me, you gotta hang up. And she was all with it because she was like, oh, hey, let me get off the phone. And then she got right into the performance. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
think when you engage with the crowd and you make the crowd feel like they're a part of it and you just not talking at them,
yeah.
it opens them up to kind of like, then when you saying get your hands up and you're doing all of the call and response type stuff, they're a little bit more open to it.
Right. I mean, and honestly, it's all a rapport. You're building a rapport with the audience in that moment.
Yeah.
The next person's gonna see you. Maybe you didn't call that person out, but their friend. I'm like, yo, that dude calls a touch out. And that joke is funny. Like
Yeah.
it's another point of someone telling someone else about you. Because then
Exactly.
they may tell somebody, yo, they all a group of friends, right? They go some other place and meet some other friends. How was the concert? Y'all, this guy, Stitch, called Jamie out, yo. She's on the phone now, yo.
Exactly, yeah.
Stitch,
And
who is
it
Stitch? Oh,
spreads
this who
like
went to
that.
go see. It spread. So you just never know how
Hmm.
you can spread in a positive way or a negative way. So you gotta be mindful of like your intent and your approach to things. So,
Yeah, I agree.
and it's funny that you even said it about performances, watching other people's performances, because I feel like every creator should have people, whether it's the same people you watch or you watch various people.
Hmm.
If I'm preparing for a show, I try to watch like I love Fantasia, I love Fred Hammond, I love John P. Key, um, I love Usher. And
Hmm.
so I had a show and I like literally was like throwing my hair like headbanging, and my people was like, "Where did they come from? What got a hold of you?" I've been watching stages and like I'm like trying to make sure like we giving you all we got. So yeah, man, that's good. That's really good. Let me ask you this question. What's one challenge you had to overcome to become who you are?
Um, Not being afraid to be upfront. So like at the core of me, I'm a like, hey, I don't want to be seen. I am good with not being seen. Like I'm already 6'5". Like you know what I mean? Like
He's not lying, guys.
I
He's tall.
yeah. And so I like to play the background. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I like to play the background. And for a while, even with doing music when I first started, I was in a group. And I always
Okay.
say, like, in the group, I was the dark skinned dude in Onyx. You know what I'm saying? I was Sheek
Okay.
Luch. I was the in
Hmm.
Locks. I was the dude that you don't really talk about like that. Like, and I was cool with that. I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, talk to them too, and I'm good. You know what I mean? And so getting over the fear of those anxieties and those fears of like being the guy, like, oh,
Hmm.
it's me. I'm the one up front. I'm the one performing. I'm the one that everybody's looking at was, I think, probably one of the biggest fears for me. And I think
Mm.
once I was able to overcome that, and I think it happened in a lot of different ways. I think church definitely helped out a lot with that, especially when you're going to Bible studies and stuff like that. And I happen to have the mother that likes to call everybody up, like, and you know that person. I'm pretty sure you know that person very well. Hey,
Yep.
mom, if you're watching, like, my mom is definitely the person that if she saw you, oh, we got Chester, you got a song for us, like, my, my mom is definitely that person, 1,000%. And so being when we were in Japan, my mom she was a dancer, so she
Okay.
went to like the Alvin Ailey school, like, and so when we were in Japan she taught dance. So when they would do the African the Black History programs, she would it was like me, all my friends, like all of the youth, and I don't got no shirt on, I got dashiki pants on, and we doing African dances with the sticks and like all of this, and like and you don't think about it, like I said, one of those things where a part of your identity being formed, because
Hmm.
when I started rapping, I was like, nah, it's not in me to be on stage. It's not in me to
Yeah.
be up there. And then once I started getting comfortable with it, I start thinking, and I'm like, man, I really been like groomed for this, like my
Your
whole
whole life.
life, and didn't even know that I was being groomed for this. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But I've really been like groomed for it my whole life, not even knowing. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Not even knowing that I was. So once I was able to get over that and get comfortable on stage, and most people will say like, man, off stage, like Stitch will be quiet, he be chilling, and then he get on stage and it's like this switch flips and it's just a totally different person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know what that is, but you probably know it too. Like, I think as performers, there's a nervousness that you always have. And it's not a scared nervousness.
Right.
It's the same nervousness if it was 10 people or if it was 10,000. It's the same butterflies, the same like feeling that you feel, but it's something about like once I grab the microphone,
It's
all of
over.
that joy just leaves. Like, it's just, I don't know what it is about, like, once you get in that zone, like, it's like it all just leaves, and it's like, all right, I'm where I'm supposed to be at. This is where I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be. So I think once I got over that fear, and kind of didn't even look at it as a fear, but learned to like embrace it and
Hmm.
know that that nervousness, having that in you, is like actually a good thing. Like, there's a reason that
Yeah.
it's there, you know what I mean? And kind of like embracing it. once I was able to do that, then being comfortable on stage became easy. Like that became the easy part. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then the difficult part, or the parts where more thought and things go into, is, man, I want to make sure that what I'm doing, the messaging, all of these things, that I'm doing it for the right reasons, and knowing that what I've learned and what I've been taught and the inspirations that I get from the Bible, and from my walk with Christ and my walk with God, that's being put into what I'm doing in whatever shape or form that I choose to put it in. But at the end of
Hmm.
the day, that's what you're getting from it.
Absolutely, man. That's amazing. You were saying you didn't know where it comes from. Psychologists would say well, they call it pre-performance anxiety.
Hmm.
And I'm with you. You have, like, I have it every single time. Sometimes I'm about to fall asleep. I can be on a stage. I never forget. I was at a church one time, and I'm just when I tell you I got quiet, I was sitting there like this. And my friend Nancy, she's like, "Are you asleep?" I was like, she's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Nothing." I just couldn't talk.
Yeah.
I felt like I didn't want to talk too much. As soon as I walked down, I was like, whew. It was like Super Saiyan. That's what I think of. I think of
Yes.
Dragon Ball Z, Super Saiyan. It's like, and then when
That's
it's over,
exactly how it
it comes
is.
right back, and it's like
And then when it's done, you
everything is
feel,
gone.
yep, when it's done, it's like it pours out, and then you like, all right. And that 30-minute show, or that 45-minute show, seemed like it was like 10 minutes. Like
Yes,
it
yes.
seems it seemed like it's over, just that quick. Nah, for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I want to take a pause on asking questions. We got 15 more minutes, but I want to give you some time to talk to us about what you do, because you're more than just a singer. I know you have merch out. You have a merch line, but I want you to talk about all the things that you do, and if you have new music coming out. Y'all, matter of fact, if you haven't already, I want you to go, and you should be able to scroll to the very top of the comments, and you'll see Stitch's name. Y'all go follow him. Like, he's got really great music. I was just listening to before what's the
When the
last
sky
album?
cracks. When the
When the
sky
sky
cracks.
cracks. I was about to say before the trumpet sounds. Ain't it like a black person
Hey,
to rename
hey,
your
but
record?
nah, but the funny thing is, at least it was right. It was in the lane of it though. You ain't go
But
like off the. You said before the trumpet sounds. That's great though.
I hate when people rename other people's music. I don't care about you renaming mine. Well, I do, because when I had my recent pre-release concert,
Like, didn't
I have a
Cheston just put
song
out
called
that album Identified? Like,
Yes.
you was like, no,
I,
that's not the name.
I was like, and I told him, I said, well, this one particular song is called Lost Found. But everybody, when they see it, they call it Lost and Found, because there's a slash between the lost
Mm-hmm.
and the found. And
Yeah,
I said, when
yeah,
this record come out, y'all better not tell people the song is called Lost and Found. It's called Lost Found.
yeah,
Or you say lost slash found. Don't you
yeah.
add no and, ain't no
Don't
and
add
there,
no
you see a
and.
slash.
Ain't no ampersand in there. Don't do it.
And I just did to you what I tell people
That's
not to do
funny.
to me. So my apologies. When the sky
It's all
cracks.
good.
Did I get it
Yeah,
right that time? Okay.
you got it. When the sky cracks. Yep.
But I was listening to it. I was jamming to it. So tell us what you got going on. Kind of give people some insight about what you do.
So in the bio, I'm a father, brother, husband, all the above. And I'm also a creative, and I put that across all forms. Like when I say artist, it's not just in music. I do graphic and web design. I have a clothing brand, Icon Nation, which you can follow. That's Icon, ICON NATN, and that's on all social platforms. Icon Nation. This hat is Icon Nation. I pretty much wear Icon Nation like on a daily basis. So that's the brand. Stitch Early is me as the artist, and Arise is me as the designer, when I'm doing web design, graphic design, logos, all of those types of things. So I do a little bit of everything. I think as an artist, with me starting out, finding people to do those things was very difficult. So a lot of it I had to end up like teaching myself how to do graphic design and stuff, and it ended up being things that helped me as an artist, like being able to do my own site and being able to have merch. I never really wanted merch like with people wearing Stitch Early on it. So it's more or less being able to have a clothing brand that attaches to it, in the sense of like Lecrae and like Andy Mineo and them with like Reach Records, but they put 116 on apparel and things
Yeah.
like that, to where you're not necessarily wearing a Lecrae shirt, but it represents the brand with the 116 and things like that.
Right.
Or KB has is it HGA?
Yes, I think it is.
The
I don't
HGA.
remember what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, like so different artists who have like their brand, but then they also have like them the artist and then my brand, which is separate, but it falls right in line with this. So that's kind of what Icon Nation is. And that falls in with the acronyms. Inspiration carries our nation. That's what Icon is an acronym for. So that's what I look to do. I'm a creative and I look to push inspiration through what I create.
Do you have a website for that?
Yeah, so Icon Nation, we have a website, iconnation.com. You can also on IG, if you go on our page, we have a shop page available on our Icon Nation IG, also on Facebook. So you can pretty much find us, you know, a little bit on all social platforms. You can find Icon Nation.
Did I spell that right?
So it's ICONNATN.
Oh, you know what? That doggone autocorrect. Because I just did that and I was like,
yeah.
Because I'm like, he just said it.
It's NATN. It will autocorrect. Like my phone, I done wrote it so many times that it automatically just puts it, like it just puts it in there how I want it. But yeah, pretty much that's, I think, yeah, that's pretty much what I do. And then, you know, when I do perform live, like I would say in the recent years, I perform more with a band. So I have a band consisting of my drummer, Daniel, keyboard player, Marcus. Sometimes Daniel's brother, Jesse, is on the bass. Two background vocalists, Santia and Dorian. And then Baspy or DJ Genius, they, you know, will DJ for me with all of us as a collective. So Stitch Early in the Population, you'll see that sometimes also.
Okay. Do you have any shows that are coming up anytime soon?
So not for the rest of the year. I had a show about last month. I had a show. That was my like last show for the year. So now it's just sitting with the team. My man Christian, who also is my partner with Icon Nation, and just starting to create for 2023. So I have a bunch of stuff lined up for 2023. So yeah, so definitely I want people to be on the lookout for just new music, visuals, things of that nature, and then a lot of stuff coming also with Icon Nation coming up in 2023. Yeah.
Dope. I asked it because I was in Frederick a couple weekends ago, just for the weekend, just to like get away from everything. And I was like, dang, I wish I could hit up Stitch right now. I was like, all right, God, you told me to rest. I guess I should not like go find out if he has a show.
Nah, you should have hit me. Yeah, if anytime you're in the city, because people don't really come. So the funny thing is, Kanye West was here today.
Wow. Okay.
On the random, like I saw it right before we came on. He was at, it's a steak spot called, I think, Matsuki or something like that. And he was, and somebody had posted a picture, was like, Kanye West was here. And I was like, is Kanye West really here? But I think he's headed to like Harper Ferry or something like that. So I saw somebody that I follow said that. But yeah, he was out here at the steakhouse, you know what I'm saying? With his boots on, busting down some steak.
I would definitely. I had to pass on that one. I'm gonna definitely shoot next summer. I actually love Frederick. So I needed to get away. The Lord had kind of told me like take a break, get some rest, and so I went to Sugarloaf Mountain to climb.
All right, bet.
Well, I hiked. Almost died because I hadn't eaten in a while.
Yeah,
I knew I was gonna hike, but I didn't know it was gonna be a challenge. So yeah, it was a struggle. But I love Frederick. It's funny because Frederick reminds me of. I'm sure you. Well, how well do you know the like Wake County area in Raleigh? I mean, in North Carolina.
Nah.
Okay, so it's like a little suburb outside of Raleigh called Wake Forest.
Okay, I mean I know Wake Forest, but yeah. But
it reminds me of Wake Forest. I love. My aunt used to live in Wake Forest. My mom lives like 20 minutes from Wake Forest. It's a place that like it was kind of like if you didn't want to be like in the Raleigh on the hustle and bustle, you can like ride away for it.
It's like the chill. Yeah, and so that's the dope thing about Frederick is, and it's built up a lot since I first moved here, but we're 45 minutes from Baltimore, 45 minutes from DC. Like, so if I want to go like get into some things, I can head out to DC. I can head out to, you know what I'm saying? I can head out to Baltimore if I feel like it. But if I just want to chill, we also have stuff here, like a lot of, you know, food spots but it's like a chill, relaxed environment. But we got, I would say the biggest thing we have here is we got good food. Like, you know what I mean?
Let me tell you something. Frederick got some good food.
Yeah,
I was up for work one time for a week, and like every night, things like one of my coworkers was like, "I'm gonna not go out so much so I can save the money because you keep some of your per diem." I'm like, "Oh no. I'm going out every night to eat dinner." and let the company pay for it. 'Cause they
Yeah,
pay for
hey,
it.
might as well.
Yeah, man. So okay, so let's finish getting these questions, and then I'm gonna let you go. What is the funniest thing that has ever happened to you before you got on stage to perform?
The funniest thing that has ever happened to me. Oh, now I could tell you something that happened early, like on stage.
Okay, we'll take that one.
All right, because I don't think anything funny, like too funny, has happened before I've gotten on stage. But so in one of my first performers, so I was in this group called Or Dangerous. So this was when I first moved to Maryland. My best friend and another dude, Eris, like they were in a group.
Okay.
And so I started hanging with them and they was like, yo, you rap? And I was like, I mean, I can rap, but I don't rap. Like I'm not a rapper. Like, you know what I mean? Start hanging out with them. We form a group. Like I joined the group.
Okay.
We put together this show. The church I was going to at the time, like pastor was super cool. So like early 2000s, churches wasn't really, they was like, oh, you know, you're rapping. If you wasn't singing, it was of the devil.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
It was still a taboo thing in church.
Still taboo, you know. Yeah. So I see my mom just hopped on here. What up, Mom? I was talking about you earlier. Hopefully you seen that. But so he lets us, the pastor is like, yo, y'all can do your own show here. Do it, like y'all got free reign, do what y'all want to do. So it's like bet. We put together this whole show, like show is dope. This is my first time like really, really performing in front of people.
Okay.
So we get on stage, right? First song, he do his part, flawless. Hook, flawless. It gets to my part. I'm rapping, and then in my mind, it just goes blank. It goes blank. And being that like I'm new to this, I don't really know. I'm on stage and I start rapping, and I blank, and then I just like turn into like I just start jamming to. I just started jamming to the music. I just was like, oh, yo, because I didn't know at that time like this is what I'm supposed to do. This is like now if I mess up on stage, no one will know. Like no one will ever know.
Because you will rewrite a song on spot.
I will rewrite a song. I will rap the second verse again. I will like whatever I got to bring back, I'll bring back. At that point, this is my first time. So like once I forgot it, I'm like looking at them like, yo, what I do? Like what I'm so to this day, that is probably like the most embarrassing moment on stage. I'm glad it was like at the church, like where they like, oh, go ahead, baby, like you good.
Take your time.
Take your time. Exactly. All of that. You know what I mean? So that was probably my most embarrassing. Like that was the funniest thing that's ever happened to me on stage.
Got you. Man, this happened to me not that long ago. I don't know if this is the most embarrassing, but it's top 5. I don't know if Joy is still on here, but I got asked to sing at Bishop Jason Nelson's church for a funeral, sing background.
Oh, dope.
And it was so funny because my brother's in here. What's up, bro? My blood brother's in here, y'all. He loves gospel rap. So he's actually
no, but you see what he said? I didn't say that Bron was that dude. People don't like Bron.
Jason.
All I said is that the footage that we watch of Bron, it seemed like he always had game.
Don't worry about it. I
that's
got
it.
Just hold on. Jason, scram. Don't you start no smoke on my page, on my live. I ain't got but a few more minutes, but just start no mess. I tell him scram at least once a week. I tell him scram. Matter of fact, that's twice this week because I just told him the other day, scram. But I'm at Bishop Jason Nelson's church. Bishop Jason Nelson vocally is like one of the like heroes of our time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to sing at a funeral. The way their stage is, it's like 2 steps, small steps. But there's one step that has a little lip on it, right? And they have these partitions that kind of like come like this. So my head is where I'm standing, but these are the partitions.
Yeah.
So I'm walking up and I trip. And it's a church full of people. Now the good thing is, because I've been clumsy all my life, I learned how to catch my fall. So I didn't even touch the ground. I just went like
you was prepared.
I stayed ready, so I had to get ready.
Oh man.
Man, but it was loud, but nobody could see it but the people on stage and people like in the band. So I like caught myself. I didn't fall. I kept walking. And then Joy, who I think she was going to lead, she looked back. She was like, "Everything okay?" I was like, "Mhm." So we
Yep.
walked off. She was like, "What happened, baby? I heard something just." I was like, "Joy, I almost lost my life." She was like, "Lost your life?" I was like, "Yeah, I almost fell." She was like, "I was like," and I was already. I think this is the first or second time because for a while I was like helping with a lot of different things. So it was like
Yeah.
I'm nervous. I'm like, I'm about to sing in front of the people. Like I actually sung this song at my cousin's wedding, and that video has a lot of views on YouTube. So
Mm.
I'm like, I don't know if this man to see this video. I don't want him to see this video and be like, "Oh,
Yo,
that
that.
young man can sing my song. That young man can not come back to that
Yeah.
church."
That's
So I
that's
definitely get
funny.
that.
At least you caught yourself though.
Cool. And let me say, I'm not going to be real churchy. I'm saying, the scripture, I almost fainted, I almost slipped. Huh? I
I
almost
know.
slipped. But thank God I didn't.
Yo, that's too funny.
So listen, this gets kind of like to my last question of the night. And this is the question I always ask the creative I'm interviewing because I'm hoping that people walk away with this. Thank you, Devin, one of my friends, Devin. Devin is an amazing vocalist.
Oh, good night.
She does a lot of cool stuff. She has movies she's done. Devin is actually going to be, she's featured on my EP that's coming out. I can't even give you all the date yet. That's a whole
Okay,
other
dope.
conversation, but she's featured on it. It's coming soon. But the question I always ask this question because I want to inspire creatives as they walk away. I want them to have some things to think about. So, what is one time you had to put the purpose before the person?
The purpose before the person. So I'll say I think the space that God has me in the sense of what I do, I don't really perform at churches a lot. Like and so a lot of the places that I perform is like bars or it's concerts where like I might be the only one on the bill who ain't gonna be saying nothing vulgar. Like
Mm-hmm.
the only one on the bill. So oftentimes I'm at places or I'm in situations where I'm the different. Like and it shows that I'm the different without me even saying anything. And so I think oftentimes in those situations, us as human beings, our natural thing is when we're in places that are comfortable, we're good.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're in places where we're not comfortable in whatever realm that is, and so for me, I had to learn to become comfortable in places of uncomfort, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
It does.
Um, you know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. And so for me, it was putting forth what I was called here to do
Mm-hmm.
over how I may feel about where I am doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say that was the biggest thing for me because sometimes, especially when it comes to church, a lot of times we often want to preach to the choir. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
because it's comfortable. It's comfortable to like sing at church. It's comfortable to rap at church where everybody knows exactly what you're talking about. They get
Yeah.
the references, they get all of that. But what if God says, "Yo, I need you to go perform at the bar and you performing behind these five people and you're gonna hear B's and F's and S's and all of this, and then you on
Yeah.
you and they loved all of the B's and S's and F's and all of that,
Yeah.
but now you're on. I need you to bring the same energy you would have brought, in the place of comfort. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So for me, that was like big for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally was almost like right out of the gate, like here in Frederick, they had a thing that was called Last Saturdays,
Okay.
and it was an artist named Jay Bird and that was putting it on, and he had just reached out to me and was just like, "Yo, heard some of the music, I want you to come through." Now, mind you, I'm the Christian hip hop artist. Like I don't curse in my music. I talk about my life. I talk about God. I talk about different things in my music. And now I'm going to a show where it's raw hip hop, like which I love. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, man, how am your all those thoughts start going through your head? How am I going to fit within this? Like, are they going to like it? Are they, you know what I mean? And you start to almost second guess what you're doing because of where you're doing it at. And then I remember doing that show, and then shows after that, seeing people from that show being like,
Mm.
yo, like I rock with you. Like keep doing what you do. Like don't do what
Yeah.
nobody else. You know what I mean? So for me, uh, being in those uncomfortable places, I'm now like comfortable in those places. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes our comfort level can cause us to conform, but I'm able to be comfortable in those places without conforming. And that probably to me is like the most amazing thing, is that I'm able to go in these spaces, and at this point, no one is looking and going like, hey, Stitch, be like us. They be like, nah, that's Stitch. That's who he is. Like, that's him. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel that once we get into a place to where like all I think goes back to identity. And once we get into a place to where we can really find our identity and know who you are, you're able to move into any room in any space and not have to second guess who you are and what the gifting is that's in you. So so I would say that would probably be the biggest thing for me.
Man, that's powerful. What I'm hearing you say, and I say this often, it was a prayer of mine one day. I hear you saying that God trusts you to take his light into dark places.
Not fact.
And I think that as creatives, we need to hear that. We need to hear it's okay to go into a space that may not be Christian or may not be church and deliver the good news of Jesus Christ, because that's really what we're called to do. He said to go into the highways and byways. He didn't say go into the temples and cathedrals. And so a lot of times we get stuck in the I want to be church famous, and not I want to make his name famous. And I think what you just said is really a mouthful. And I had one more question, but I don't want to ask him a question because that was like icing on the cake for me.
That's cool.
Man, I can literally talk to you all night because I just feel like
this was dope.
You're so full of wisdom, so rich in like ideas and concepts. I am going to take you up on your offer. I'm going to come to Frederick. I can't promise to do this before the year's out, but in the next 3 months, I'm going to come to Frederick. We're going to sit there and have dinner or something. I'm going to pay for it, and I'm going to pick your brain. We'll talk.
Nah, I'm with it. Yeah,
I might even let Janice come. I don't know, because Janice sometimes, you know.
And I ain't seen Janice in a minute. It's been a minute.
Yeah, Janice is my manager. I love Janice with all of my heart, but me and Janice go at it all the time. She'd be like, Justin, what do you want? Oh, and then when we have these busy seasons where she know I'm calling for something, she won't say hello. She says, yes, Justin. I said, act like you got this sense to answer me right. I'm going to hang up call back. You're going to say hello, Justin. So, no, but yeah, I just want to, man, there's so much. And I think there's so much that you have that other creatives need. Trust me, this is not the first time. This is the first time you've been on the show, but it's not going to be the last time. So when I got some seasons building up, we're trying to work on this first season. Want to kind of get our feet wet, but eventually we're calling you back so we can really dive into this, because I feel like there's some things that you can share business side that creators need to know. Like you just said, you do websites, you're a designer, you do your own. I'm assuming you do your own design for your merch as well.
Or like the concept merch. Yeah.
So you're doing all these things, and that's I call it a creative's creative. You're doing all these things to keep revenue. It's so funny. I didn't think about this when I said side hustle. When I open up the show, like that's a side hustle. Like your clothes is funding the music. Like you keep revenues coming. That's a whole other conversation. So yeah, is there anything? I mean, you told us about the clothes. You told us about you had your last album. You got new music coming out. You got anything you want to tell us that's coming up soon to kind of get ourselves and minds prepared for?
Yeah, just follow me, Stitch Early on all platforms, on all DSPs, Stitch Early. A lot of music coming, Icon Nation. We have new merch coming. I just want to say thank you to you for allowing me to be on your platform and taking this time out to even speak with me, you know what I mean, and pick my brain and things. So I appreciate it, you know what I mean, and I thank you for what you give out and, you know, the lessons and things that people are also taking from like things like these interviews. So I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody who tapped in tonight. Like I said, follow me and you'll be able to see, you know, as things unroll, and hopefully we get this dinner in the next 3 months. You know what I mean?
Yes.
My appetite, I'll be ready. I can eat.
I ain't got no problem with that. Look, make sure we take care of you. But the other thing is, I say that joking. I mean, I'm serious about it. I'm going to do it. But I said it on live and jokingly. But I want people to take this away. There is a certain level of wealth of information, wisdom, things that you obtain for being in certain rooms with certain people, and it's important when you are in those spaces to honor them. You don't always have to. My mentor, I never forget, before she became my mentor, I reached out to her and I was like, hey, I want to pick your brain about some stuff. She said, okay, cool. I just wanted to talk to her and ask her to be my mentor because of some of the things she's done in the industry. Behind the scenes, I knew would be beneficial to where I'm trying to get to. And
Mm-hmm.
so we sat down, we ate, I paid for her dinner. She's like, you didn't have to pay for dinner. I'm like, I know, but you gave me your time. So I now want to honor your time by giving you something to say thank you. You know,
Nah, I
like
feel you.
creatives do that. Like if you know somebody got something that you need, ask them, hey, can I take you to coffee? Like make connections. This whole platform of ID Talks is bigger than just me to get on here talking about my music or other person's music. It's really trying to share information that so people can grow and be the best creatives they can be. And
Yeah.
avoid some of the headaches and the heartaches and all that kind of stuff. So, Stitch, thank you for your time, bro. If y'all haven't already, follow me. You can go to my link tree. Both of the playlists will be there. The playlist will be updated tomorrow with the new songs. The song for tonight is DMX Slipping. And listen, if you are a Christian is offended by secular music, you may not want to listen to the playlist. There's nothing vulgar on there, but it is a playlist of creativity. So I put a whole bunch of stuff on there so people can be inspired. It's for
Yeah.
creatives. It ain't for the missionaries who like get ready to
Yeah.
preach. Don't listen to this playlist when you get ready to preach.
You're not about to go into
Uh,
worship on the playlist.
it might be a couple songs that make you
But
want
it
to be like,
might be some joints to be in. You might slipping might take you there if you've been through some things.
but it also got some stuff on there like slipping or so fresh and so clean. Because my other people's like so fresh and so clean is my joint like right before I go in the studio. You know, so it's just to show the diversity of creatives. So you can follow those on like it's Spotify and Apple Music. Stitch, thank you, brother, for your time, and thank you for just doing this show. And y'all, next Monday I have Tameka Goodwin, a sister of mine who has a phenomenal. She's a very interesting creative, and I can't wait. She is she calls herself Prayer Warrior Princess. She's an intercessor. My sister said worse than Crip Walk.
I
Listen,
just read that.
I love you, Jesus. But
Oh
Tameka
man,
Goodwin,
that's funny.
she's an intercessor. She has classes and different things on intercessory prayer, but she also has a really cool merch line called Prayer Warrior Princess, and it's all these different things that kind of encourage people to pray. So we're gonna be talking with her next week, and y'all, she's an introvert, so it's gonna be cool to pick a brain of someone who's very introverted just to see how they work in their creative spaces. So thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for sticking with us. I know I went a little long today. Stitch had such great answers. I couldn't just like hang them up. You know, I can't be like, cut. Like, you
Nah, I
just said cut.
appreciate it. I'm gonna have them. Hey, and I'm gonna drop them other two books in the comments.
Please do, please do. And oh, so if you are maybe you caught us at the end, this show is going to be up tonight. It's also going to be on YouTube tomorrow, so you can watch the full show on YouTube on my YouTube channel, Cheston D Green. You can just put in ID Talks Cheston or Cheston D Green. Look me up, and you'll see this episode and the other previous 3 episodes on there as well. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night. Peace.
Peace.